All right, and you just heard I'm a Boss. That's by Mr. Envi. He's from Greensboro, Alabama. Can I say born and raised? I'm going to say born and raised, and maybe I'll get corrected.
More Uniontown.
Very true.
I'm born in Greensboro, but I was raised in Uniontown, Alabama.
Okay, so raised in Uniontown, Alabama. So we'll say an Alabama native. All right, it's Mr. Envi. That's who you're hearing here on the mic. It's live from the underground. D-Block and Just Do It. And Mr. Envi, we appreciate you so much for doing this interview with us.
Not a problem.
Just reading about you here and there, I know that you sort of started in the industry in 01. 03 you released an album. In 06 you've released an album, and then sort of you went away for a little while.
You want to talk about before he started recording himself and he was hanging out with like Juvenile and all that stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that was more or less the start of my career. At that time, I was in Uniontown. I had just left Louisiana at the time where I was living. Came back to Uniontown for a while, and then I hooked up with DJ Rags. He's actually a DJ at 105 in Selma.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I was with his crew at the time, and, he had us a lot of shows. We were doing shows at the time and doing some recording. And shortly after that, I moved back to Louisiana, and that's when I really got on the grind. At the time, a lot of money invested in a lot of albums, still in a learning phase for me because, I didn't quite exactly know what I was doing, but, I pretty much bought a lesson, if you would. So each release came more knowledge to this business.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you on that. As far as like rapping-wise, have you always known this is what you wanted to do?
Well, with me, I guess you could say I'm like a jack of all trades because I've been in and out of different things, but rap is just one of those things I just couldn't walk away from.
Okay.
I mean, I've tried for so many different times, and I always find myself back at it.
You always came back to the love.
Yeah. I can't leave it alone.
We read here that you're the CEO of Southern Styles label. You also produce your own music through Southern Styles label. So I kind of wanted to know, how does business affect rap when you're the CEO of your label and you also produce your own music through that label?
When you're in the lab is one aspect, but once you put on that CEO persona or the boss persona, there's so much other things that you have to do, which takes you away from being in the studio. Because luckily I have a staff now versus when I started off, which allows me to do both. But at the time, on the phone all the time, talking to different execs, other businesses, having business meetings, talking to investors, that takes a lot of time. And it really takes your mind frame from focusing on being an artist because you're worried about how you're going to get funds for this project and so on and so forth, and creating business plans. It just kind of throws you off a little.
Yeah, and I hear that. As a question to you, do you see like Facebook and Twitter, those social outlets, as sort of like media outlets to gain business, or is that more of a way to sort of release your thoughts?
That's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because I have about 3 Facebook pages.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, one of them is for the label itself. One of them is for Mr. Envi, and then there's me.
Okay.
So I work all 3 of them.
Wow. Staying on the grind is what that's called.
Yeah.
Okay, then. What do you feel? I know you told me you're a jack of all trades. What are you more comfortable with? You think you're more comfortable with your CEO side, or are you more comfortable with the rapping side?
Well, the thing of it is, I'm getting a little bit older now, and the CEO side is where I really want to be at because I know even though the game is changing, you see a lot of 30-plus rappers coming into the game nowadays. Mm-hmm. I really didn't want to see myself there now, but given the circumstances, I have to kind of get at it myself because if you read a little bit about me, I had a couple of false starts. I put some artists, put some time behind other artists, and they just didn't attack the opportunity. So I feel that I'm going to have to come out of retirement and get my brand going.
You're real busy because you're a CEO. You have your own record company. If a mainstream company came to you and wanted to sign your company on and you as an artist, would you take with that? Like, what's your goals for
right now? I'm really... If I had to put an outline or a goal, if you're familiar with the artist Tech Nine and Strange Music.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to strive to be at because Tech Nine has done a lot. This guy really inspires me I've known about Tech Nine's music since the mid-'90s, and now he's just now getting the attention that he should have been getting years ago.
Yeah, just getting his label out there, and they're making bank right now.
Right, and I'm counter. That's kind of my motto, if you would, for my business. That's kind of where I want to be at.
On that sort of series of thought, our big topic today on the show is going to be mainstream versus the underground. Like, what are the big differences really, and what that is. I would say that, and this is a guess because I've never talked to Tech Nine, but I would say that Tech Nine probably prefers the underground. It looks like at this point that he's been sort of that route. Mm-hmm. He can make his own money and not have to cut off a piece for the label. What do you think?
Still do what he wants to do.
What do you think that the main difference between mainstream and underground is?
Well, I think you just really hit it on the head. I mean, the difference between mainstream and underground to me, as far as since I've been in it, is exactly what you said. When you're your own independent underground artist, you're controlled. You're the one that, you're putting out the investments, well, making the investments, if you would. So whereas if you were with a mainstream label, you're at the mercy of the label itself. Then once you go out and make money, you really have to do numbers in order to see anything.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Versus where if you're a mainstream, you're doing your own thing, you see more capital than you would with a mainstream. And then at the same time, if you did get signed to a mainstream label, who's to say when the world will get to hear you?
Exactly.
There have been cases where, an artist will get signed and he'll be just sitting on the label for years at a time before he even sees the first single.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, there's guys coming out now that's been with people for 5-6 years. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. I hear that completely. We originally got some of your music from Mia Mind, and we hear that you're not with them anymore. Do you sort of care to elaborate on what happened in that situation?
Well, actually, we're still kind of with them per se. Okay. It's just that I've been dealing with Mia Mind for probably 2 years now, and it's more or less as we release. I mean, we're not like an exclusive artist on an exclusive contract or anything. It's just whenever I'm getting ready to release project, that's who I do business with.
Like promotional wise?
Right, promotional and distribution.
Okay. Just sort of a left wing question here. You're born in Alabama, yet now you're sort of very encased in Louisiana. Are you a LSU fan or are you an Auburn or Alabama fan?
Oh, not even close to either one.
Oh, what?
What?
I roll Tide.
You were
That's what I'm talking about. Roll Tide.
Crimson hard. Crimson.
Take that, D-Block.
Gosh, you got to be kidding me, sir. How did you not hop on the War Eagle train?
That's 2 artists in a row we've got some Roll Tide with.
Hey, when I was in high school, I played football, and that was one of the schools I wanted to go to had I chose, had I taken that path. But hey, I'm a diehard Crimson Tide fan.
That's what I'm talking about.
We hear that you have a show October 15th in Texas. Is that still scheduled?
Yes, that's still scheduled. Actually, it's an award show.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's an area magazine per se, and what they do is it's online based, and they just take all of the unsigned artists that are actually working towards accomplishing their goals as far as getting in the music industry, and then they just created an awards for them. This is the second one I've gone to. The first year they've done it, one of my artists got a chance to perform. This year I found out I got nominated. It kind of shocked me because I didn't even think I was wasn't about to pay me enough attention like that. Yeah, but I think one of the nominations is for, I think, either best male rap artist or hustler of the year or something like that. But
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Definitely would hustler of the year sounds more like you. Just taking everything that you do.
Yeah, got to. If I don't do it, who's going to do it for me?
Yeah, exactly. That's why you're CEO.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jumping a little bit back into that CEO, do you find yourself going and looking at artists or hearing music and saying, oh, that kind of artist is what I'd want for my label?
Well, I started out that way. I really, when I initially started Southern Styles Records, it was mainly supposed to be a artist development label. And it's still kind of what I'm going to. But again, with the previous type, projects that we've released, it's just some artists nowadays don't have that drive.
They're in it for the money more than making the music.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that kind of hurt, it hurts in a sense because some artists, they come in thinking, hey, I'm signed with the label, I'm automatically supposed to get a check.
Yeah.
They don't want to put in the footwork to get to that point. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of hurting a lot of artists nowadays. And that's actually what separates the artists who actually make it versus the artists who don't make it. Because, you may have artists that are the hottest thing you've ever heard, but if their work ethic isn't up to par, then, it's easy to get lost between the cracks.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Do you think that some of that footwork is more studio time, or is that footwork more promotional?
More promotional.
Okay.
Because, you can go in the studio every day and record 100 songs, but if nobody's hearing them, what's the purpose?
I completely agree with you. Now, I know I'm a Boss is your big song right now. You'll see it everywhere. You can see it online right when you type in Mr. Envi, I'm a Boss comes up. Personally, my favorite song of yours right now is I Just Wanna. Tell us a little bit about that. You sampled a little bit in that song. We discussed sampling a little bit last week. Tell us a little bit about that song.
Well, that song is funny you brought that up. I was out in California, and I was talking to an old friend of mine from high school, whatever. And as you listen to the first lyrics, it's mainly about me talking about how the whole situation went down. You know, we conversated a little bit.
Exactly.
I came back to Louisiana, we hooked up, and the rest is history. So I mean, it's self-explanatory. The track, I like the track because it was more or less me on a more laid back, you know what I mean? And it's just basically me talking about getting a girl, and it happened.
I got you. And now, is that song true? Or
It's true. Everything about it is true.
Okay. All right, then.
Care to throw some names out there? No, I'm just joking.
I don't think I need
Don't
to do
need
that.
no lawsuits on your hands.
Exactly. No.
Is there anyone underground, even mainstream, that you would like to work with?
Oh, definitely. Pastor Troy will be one I'd say I'd like to work with.
I could see you with like Big Crit. I think that would be a good little hookup.
Well, I'm open to work with anybody. I mean, I'm not biased to music. Whatever sounds good to me, that's what I roll with.
Now, I got to admit, because I first heard your songs and I thought, this guy, he sounds, or I would say somebody else sounds a lot like you, because you were out first, technically. So I would say Rick Ross sounds a lot like you. Do you hear that at all when you rap? Does anybody say that at all to you?
Well, you know what? It's normally the other way around. It's something. You know, some people have told me, like, you know what? You sound like you could fit into that Maybach.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I take it as a compliment, you know, but I like being independent. I mean, I love everything about the independence right now.
All right. This is Mr. Envi. Shout us out. We got your Facebook page, Mr. Envi. You got 3 of them. The Twitter. You're on every social media, so give it all to us.
I'm on Facebook, Twitter. You could just Google me. Shout out my homie Lucky Calhoun. That's my right hand man. You know what I mean? Shout out to homie JB. You know, shout out Southern Styles Click, Money from CDE. Give a big shout out to Nehemiah because you know those guys open up a lot of doors for me. Stevie B, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to shout them out. And shout out WLJS for giving me this opportunity to sit down and rap with you for a second.
Appreciate that.
We appreciate that. It's Mr. Envi. You just heard him here. WLJS is live from the underground. Thad Burton, we appreciate that. The program director who always hooks it up. It was Mr. Envi, who you just heard. Live from the underground. We'll be back.
I'm a boss, something like Rose, status like Burger King. Homie, have it my way. You can tell the way I talk. You can tell the way I dress. First class when I fly. Won't settle for nothing less.